I had to get up and move around for a little bit while I'm recording this series of videos. So, per Professor Dungeon Master's video from, I don't know when you're seeing this, so I don't know, but I'll say last month. I'm just going to go out on a limb. Anyway, per his video, I'm taking a look at independent RPGs in the month of July. And I've recorded a few already. I will record a few after this. I'm going through this pile of some that I have enjoyed in one way or another. And I wanted to point out 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. Does this have who this is by? I feel like it does somewhere. Anyway, 1,000-Year-Old Vampire is a really fascinating game. It is a solo game. And I guess I would call it maybe a journaling game, although I think if I did this again, I would use maybe 3x5 cards because of the nature of how you do things in the game. Anyway, I'm going to be straight up, it's not a cheap game. I'm not a wealthy man. And so it was a bit of a hefty price tag when I got it. But the thing is this is I think it is a gorgeous artifact, first off. This book is fantastic. I think it looks great. I think it's got a wonderful feel. And I think it's just a really solid, excellent product. I love little details that give you looks like an old book inside. It's just a nice, it looks good. I think stuff like that. All right. Anyway, it also has, I think, really fantastic replayability. Now, what is it? It is a solo RPG, as I mentioned before. And I think I mentioned before, I don't know, honestly, I'm a little bit loopy at this point. In it, you take on the role of a vampire. And, which is weird, vampires are not my bag. They're one of my least favorite classic monster. I don't like most versions of the Dracula story. I actually just recently reread Dracula, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't think it was very good. I didn't like it that much when I read it the first time back in junior high or high school, and reading it again now, 35 or whatever years later, I still really didn't like it. And, even Bela Lugosi's Dracula is probably my least favorite of the original Universal horror movies. I think that's true. I'm not talking about the sequels. If we just talk about the first one, I think that's true. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Vampires. You take on a role of one, and you, through questions that are asked and through certain roles and stuff, you build up this history of who you have been over the years, decades, centuries. And what I find really interesting about it is that as you progress, things happen and you lose memories of who you were. So if you did what I'm thinking about doing the next time, which would be writing it on 3x5 cards as I put in several memories from one time or something like that, and then I lose one of those 3x5 cards. So that at the end, you only have a spotty recollection of who you've been over 200, 500,000 years. It's interesting. It creates this very, a sad story that is very compelling. When I ran through it, I really became invested. I became invested in some side characters that die because they're not vampires. And then one character that became a vampire and came back later. And it's just sometimes just the sad things that happen. And the time where my vampire rose to these great heights and had all this stuff and this power and this majesty. And then I want to say, I think he ended up dying. He had been like a self-made like wizard king in Turkey or something, and he ended up dying, I want to say, as an unhoused person in like Las Vegas. He like laid out on a bench and got hit by the sun and died, or there was something to that effect. I had it written down somewhere, but it was just fascinating. It was a really fascinating story that is kind of comes out of it, and I think very much, look, it's going to be appeal to a certain player. The fact that it's solo is a whole thing. And again, it's not cheap, but it is a high quality product, and you are getting, I think, what you pay for and then some. And especially, I mean, honestly, I feel like I got my money's worth out of it playing it just one time. Now, I'm going to go back and revisit this. It's not something I'm psychologically or emotionally ready to just go do all the time. But I will definitely revisit this, and I will probably revisit this multiple times. And I have recommended other people just try it, and I think it's just a real good product and very much worth supporting. So check out Thousand Year Old Vampire. I got this in my local game store. Luckily, that was nice. But I believe there's a website for this. I really wish I could have thought ahead and gotten the name. Tim Hutchings, I believe, is the name, and I think there is a website where you can buy this this game. But look it up on Google. I'm sure you'll find it. So anyway, Thousand Year Old Vampire. If you like what I'm doing, check out the links below. Support me in any way you can. If that just means liking this video, great. If you want to share it with somebody, that's fine too. Anything you want to do is cool with me. If you don't want to do anything, that's also fine. I understand. We're all busy. Anyway, take care. Until the next time.